National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula maintains her innocence as calls by opposition parties mount for her to step down. This follows a raid on her Johannesburg home in connection with corruption allegations yesterday. The NPA's investigating directorate raided her home over claims that she received more than 2 million rand in kickbacks from a contractor while she was still defense minister. She says she's got nothing to hide and she's welcomed investigators into her house. The DA has now laid a complaint with Parliament's Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests. Mapisa-Nqakula didn't preside over President Cyril Ramaphosa's question and answer session in the National Assembly yesterday. Well, leadership expert Professor Mazwe Majola joins us now to look at some of the leadership and governance questions being raised following the raid on the Speaker's house. Prof. Majola, good morning. Welcome to you. Thank you very much for your time. It's been quite a journey to this point with those allegations against the Speaker, raised first by UDM leader Bantu Holomisa years ago. Then he later laid criminal charges. There was also some attempt by the Joint Standing Committee on Defence to look into the matter, but that was also disbanded. So in light of this, and despite Mapisa-Nqakula's cooperation with investigators yesterday, should she step down given her influential and senior position as Speaker?
Yes, good morning, Iman. Thank you very much. Well, of course, we must acknowledge that at the moment there are still allegations. They still need to be tested. She's not yet charged or convicted. So we need to acknowledge that. However, the allegations are very serious. More importantly, for a person who occupies the position, that she has so much, or rather enormous responsibility as the head of the legislature. So this is a very noble and honorable institution which must be led by someone who's not tainted or someone who's not undergoing some kind of investigations. Therefore, so it would have been nice on her own volition to come up and say, look, if of course, as she's saying that she doesn't have anything to hide, that I don't have anything to hide, I'm cooperating with the investigation. However, in respect of the position, I would like to step aside or to step down for now, so that the institution is not tainted. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have such leaders in South Africa, more especially inside the ANC. Those leaders who just step down in their own volition without being pushed, and also with the policy or unwritten policy of the ANC of protectionism. They will protect their own, they will defend their own until the last. So unfortunately, because we know that that's how they do things. However, that is a very, very important institution, very noble and very honorable.
I was going to come to this later on during our conversation, but since you've touched on it, let me bring it in now. The President, Cyril Ramaphosa, keeps reverting to the position that there has to be evidence and due process. But when so many senior executives have the finger pointed at them, should he be considering another approach in order to win back public confidence and promote accountability? Is it enough to adopt the stance that he has?
You see, this is an election season or electional season. And it's imperative and essential for the President and the ANC to demonstrate to the public and to South Africans that they really mean business when it comes to corruptions and malfeasance. And not just by rhetoric, but by word and deed. So if he misses this opportunity, they will be too costly for the ANC. So he can't really beat about the bush now. He must mean business. And this thing of trying to pacify and protect each other within the party at the expense of losing trust from the public is going to be very very problematic for them. So Ramaphosa must be decisive now, and you must really be courageous and stand up and show leadership, and also demonstrate to the country that if they want to be voted, these are things they need to show that they must come back in the next administration.
Some might question whether it's too late for all of that, given the many opportunities the president has has had to do exactly what you say. It's a sour note for the president of the sixth administration to close this final Q&A session on, given his promises, and we all remember it. It was, peppered with soundtracks and so on at the start of his leadership journey to bust corruption, to conduct and conclude lifestyle audits. What impression does it leave about the credibility of his commitment to clean governance?
Well, there is something in management we call a halo effect. A halo effect. So psychologically, other people will say the first impression lasts. Other people will say the last impression lasts. So even though, yes, of course, yes, other people may argue that it's too late now. But for whatever little action and decision that he's taking, it will count. Psychologically, people will remember what the president has done. They may not remember what the president done in the last 5 years or 4 years, but what is done now may really count on the 29th of May when they go and vote. So that's why I'm saying now he must really, he must choose whether he wants to as I'm saying that it's important to unify the organization, yes, but at the same time they must not do that at the expense of losing votes.
So what would her legacy be, given, her career in politics over the last many decades, stretching into, the liberation struggle for the country, the office that she has occupied, the position, as Defense Minister, and other positions in her long career. As you said, first impressions last, but last impressions last as well. How much impact is this likely to have, given that cases like these either take a very long time to get resolved, if at all, but you still have the specter of corruption or allegations hanging over you?
Well, he's a good man. He's a good man, but he's a good leader also. But of course, it's just lacks decisiveness. And his main Achilles heel is his leadership style. He uses and implements one leadership style, whereas in leadership, you can't use one and only leadership style all the time, because leadership styles are influenced and informed by different contexts and different environments. So a good leader is someone who will be adaptable, it's someone who will have an enormous agility, who will be able to read the room, read the environments, and use these different styles so that you can respond accordingly to what is happening. So unfortunately for him, he's always used this one and the same way of doing things, which is very, very unfortunate. And I must say that in his first election or in his first term as the ANC president, we criticized him about this, and it was argued that no, it's because it was his first term. He was still wanting to build the organization, to unite the organization. And then in his second term is when we'll see the real man. But we haven't seen the real man, in his second term into the ANC presidency. Now he wants the second term as the South African president. So there will always be that question that, will he really change? Will he really improve? Or we are still going to see the same person in the next 5 years or so?
Prof, there's an old adage which says, if somebody tells you who they are, maybe you should believe them. And as you say, you're hoping to see, something else. Maybe what we've seen is what we are meant to see, and that's all there is to it. But I also wanted to make the question about the Speaker herself, and in terms of her legacy, given, again, her long career in politics, and where she is now, and the position that she finds herself in, even though these allegations have not been resolved.
Well, when she was moved from the department or the Minister of Defense, there was always this cloud hanging over her. But the ANC, being ANC, they tried to create another position for her, and then they gave her the Speaker position. But you can see that she does have some always problem that following. Few weeks ago, we heard about the issue with the salary increase of the parliamentary secretary. So while we are still on that, and there is this allegation come into play again, so you can see that really she has so much into her for her to continue as the Speaker of the legislature. It will really not be very good for the ANC, but also for the institution itself, because she will always have to defend herself. Remember that there are so many people that have been affected by her, whether they're EFF being thrown out of the of Parliament and other cases as well. So those people in opposition party keep on reminding her that you are not worthy to be called honorable. You don't deserve that seat. And that distracts someone from doing her or his job. So the better thing to do really is for her to step down and give someone else to continue with that position.
Thank you so much for talking to us this morning. We appreciate your time, leadership expert, Professor Mazwe Majola.